All right, continue.
When you make that push, then you can sit there and contain them. Drop that command center down. You're gonna have a by the time that push ends and you pull back to base or whatever you do with it, you're gonna have your economy just booming at that point, and you're gonna be able to do whatever you want. Drop more barracks, rally up a bunch more guys to make that next push, that mid, that conversion into the mid game that much stronger. I think.
Doctor, you got anything to add?
I don't remember what happened in this game. Honestly.
Joe's attack failed. He kind of built too many buildings to support, and Kook just did kind of what he normally does. He held it, and then just messed up. Did you get Colossus that game? I can't remember, but you ended up holding off his drops and stuff, and actually that was a really good idea that he had. He was trying to get back in the game with double drops and stuff, but he just didn't really micro him that well. And yeah, Kuch just ended up overwhelming him.
Well, my main thought process is that I'm usually going to fail at any kind of engagement head-to-head. If I have a 200-200 army, go against his 200-200 army, 9 times out of 10 he'll probably win because he can micro better, and I'm kind of not a 1A player, but damn close to it. Actually, 1A is probably better micro than what I actually try to do in most head-to-head engagements. So, but yeah, I do try to overwhelm it. The economy game is a little bit more of my what I focus on, I guess I'd say. So, but anyway,
Doctor. Right. Doctor doesn't get a go. All right, game 2.
Fuck you.
Fuck you anyway.
It was on Slag Pits. Joe actually opened up really well. I liked he did a 1 barracks fast expand, and then after he got that running, he went to his normal 3 barracks, all with like a tech lab and reactor. And I like that because he was able to kind of get a big, like, juicy army with an expansion up already, which is really good against Protoss. 3 racks with an expansion up, and then you can easily transition into whatever Protoss goes. If you see a Robo and obviously a robotics or a support bay, you're going to want to get Vikings out as soon as you can. But if they go Templar tech, you can easily just throw down a Ghost Academy and start working on your EMPs and shit. But I think Joe actually, yeah, he ended up winning that game. Kook kind of, and that was the game, yeah, what you kind of gave yourself your own advice there. You had a good push at the beginning with sentries and I think 2 immortals, and you killed off a lot of his shit. I looked at the army loss tab, and you were up 3-1, like, in units lost. But then you kept trying to push, and you ended up suiciding all your shit. He had to lift his expansion up, and he was slowed way down. And I think if he would have pulled back and just did what you normally do, you would have easily won that match.
Yeah, I remember that exactly, and you're 100% right. I basically just wound up suiciding them all in, and at the point when I should have been either pulling back and macroing up again, instead I tried to focus on keeping my micro up and just take him out right there when he just came back real strong and managed to smoke me. It was I think part of the whole thing is I was so damn shocked that he had an expo up when I got there. I'm like, oh my god, he has an expo up. This is really bad. I'm behind. So I think I tried to do more than I really needed to in that push, but oh well. It was a good game, and he played really well. So
I remember this game, you almost abandoned your own style of macroing up really hard. Because I'm watching this replay, and it's taking you a while to get the expo up, and you're not really getting any 3rd bases or 4th bases anytime soon. And I think you stopped making probes after a while, so in a way you abandoned the macro style you did and did a heavy pressure and a style like that. So in a way, changing that really quickly set you back a bit.
Yep, yeah, exactly. Once again, changing your style up in a tournament is probably the dumbest thing you can probably do. And I definitely learned my lesson there.
Well, you came back in game 3. It was on Shakuris, yeah. And it was actually a pretty close match. You guys both tried to kind of do drops, kind of out of the normal builds that you guys do. Joe did a 1-1-1, and I remember you had a probe hidden in his base for the longest time, and I like how you sent another probe kind of in the entrance to suicide. So I don't know if you meant to do that, but I would be like, oh, okay, he was just seeing like what my unit comp was at that point, and I wouldn't have suspected like another probe to be like a spy in there and shit. But instead of going fast entry, he just went for a tank drop that did a little bit of distracting to you on your left cliff there. But you had already had a couple immortals up and a war prism, so that wasn't a real big problem. And I remember in that game you actually scouted with a zealot, and you scouted his kind of ninja expansion right away. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. But it was just kind of like a slugfest between you guys, and Kook just ended up pulling it out because it went to a long game.
Well, let me be honest. First of all, even if I didn't intend to send that second probe in to disguise it, I would claim that I did. But in that case, I actually did do that for that reason. I'm like, okay, if I send somebody in there, he won't think that there's already one hidden in there, so we'll be good. But anyway, normally 9 times out of 10 that would not be true, but in that case, it actually was. So.
Oh, it was nice. Yeah, you got to see his build order really easily.
Definitely helped, and as doctors always tell me to do, which one of my biggest failings is scouting, and for some reason that game my scouting just worked out really, really, really well. So I found the secret now is just to make about 15 observers and send them everywhere. That seems to cover everything pretty well, but no, in that game it just really worked out well.
What were you going to say,
never
Doctor?
have to go looking for them.
I was just saying that 15 observers, it's pretty good intelligence. I don't know. That's like as many as I carry around with my Phoenix DT. But
I don't want to talk about that.
We will be talking about that soon, whether you like it or not.
Great.
Did you have any comments on that last match, Doctor?
Let me see here. No, not really. Pretty much covered the basic.
Alright, and then the last match in round 2 is Cooper versus Soup, and I actually...
Hey.
What?
Yo, what the fuck?
Oh, Doctor versus Angel? I haven't even talked about this yet. Yeah, okay, sorry. I just kind of want to ignore Doctors, because we kind of know how those all go. And actually, the first game was actually kind of close at the beginning. Anyways, Angel opened up 4 gate with really late blink tech, and Doctor opened 1 gate, 1 robo, and then into expansion, a pretty fast expansion. And it kind of turned into a base race. Angel hit his army to the top. He was breaking down some rocks while Doctor slipped by, and they both attacked at the same time. And Angel's army was about even. Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't play Protest, but he might have had the edge just a little bit. And you guys... Sorry, go ahead.
He had I think it was mostly Zealot Stalkers and a couple Sentries, but I had a couple Immortals out, and Sentries and Zealots, and I do remember microing the Immortals to snipe those Stalkers, which I think really put me up on that battle. I remember he attacked my expansion, and I could have gone for a base race, but I elected to go back and defend.
Yeah. And then you ended up going Mothership.
The Mothership was on the way when he attacked, which was, if there's any time to attack me and kill me, it's when that Mothership is being built. Especially if he can snipe the Nexus that's building.
I can attest to that. That's the best time in the world to attack him. Like, you can see that Nexus just churning it out. Like, oh god, either kill the Nexus. Like, I will ignore his army and just focus down that stupid Nexus that's building the Mothership. That's pretty much should be your only goal if you ever see that occurring in a game with Doctor.
Angel got supply blocked kind of right away in that match too. I think. Well, I mean, obviously, 4 gate pressure would have killed 1 gate, 1 robo usually. So I guess just as PvP, I would just 4 gate.
It does depend.
Yeah.
1 gate, 1 robo, or it's actually a 2 gate robo. Well, it can defeat a 4 gate if you do it right.
Yeah, especially like in the bigger maps, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I guess a proxy pylon, that wouldn't really matter how big, but yeah, I get what you mean. And then the second game, it was on metal, and Angel just kind of failed a proxy two-gate attack. He kind of was hesitant, it looked like, and he didn't really get it off that fast. And Doctor, he opened with two-gate pressure with Warp Tech, and he just kind of beat him easy since he had late gateways up.
Yeah, I saw him go 2-gate, so if I threw down a Cybercore, I could have been screwed, so I had to throw down that second gate. A lot of it is reaction to scouting. So if you send out that scouting worker for a reason. If you see him go something, then you have to react. It's not like you have to stick with your one build or your one style throughout the entire game. You do have to be flexible.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of go overboard on ladder on TVTs. Like, if I see just one gas, I immediately think, okay, it's just going to be either fast expand or 3 racks or 2 racks pressure. So I just go straight to Banshee. Like, I don't make anything because I assume they won't have that much detection up other than a few scans, and try to. Or if I scout 2 gas, I just build like 5 fucking barracks, like no expand, and just try to like kill them. But it usually doesn't work. Cook, did you have anything about that series that you want to say?
No, I think you guys covered it pretty well.
Alright, now we're going on to Cooper versus Soup, and I lagged out of the first game, so I have no idea what happened there.
This was a pretty characteristic TVZ on Xel'Naga Caverns, where you would have both players take their natural and their gold. The Terran player would set up a planetary fortress by their gold, set up a bunch of siege tanks, and basically sit there and mine for a while while the Zerg tries to break it somehow, but most of the time fails in some way. Soup eventually got Thors. He got Thors and Marauders for a really long time, and Cooper eventually reacted to that by getting Ultralisks. Instead, where he was just going straight Roach, he eventually went Ultralisk, which just tore apart all of those armored units and eventually took the game.
That's right, I remember that because I was trying to figure out what that unit was that was running around on the field for Zerg that looked like an elephant with huge claws on the front. I'd never seen it before, but I'd heard stories, so I quickly went to Team Liquid and looked it up and found out it was Ultralisk. It was really cool.
That's funny.
People should use it.
Yeah, I don't see it much against Terra now, since Marines and Marauders can like kill a tier 3 Zerg unit pretty easily.
Yeah, you can kill a lot of things pretty easily.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's a really good point.
Anyways, second match, I kind of like half saw it, and I lost this replay and then all the championship replays, actually, the 3 matches, so it was kind of weird. I remember this game though. I remember Soup kind of did what I always do, and well, I'm trying to not do against Zerg, is you get an advantage, but you get like too anxious and you move out, like, and you just are like in a single file like fucking line, which is terrible, and you need to lead like with your tanks or your mech or your tanky like Marauders and shit. And it's all about position. You want to move out real slow like everybody else does, and just make sure you always control like how it's engaged. Because I think he was actually kind of in the lead in that until he lost all those units a couple times in the middle.
Yeah, I think it's another situation where pulling back, before some of those engagements, until you really feel confident that your army can. I mean, it's tough with Zerg because they replenish so fast, but in general, I mean, like in that situation, just pull back a little bit. Make sure that you're exactly how you want to be lined up. Make sure that your units are, in a good arc. Make sure that your tanks are sieged, and that it makes such a huge difference for Terran if they're in position and have that death arc before the engagement. Rather than just kind of moving in, waiting for them to get into position after the engagement has already started, and they're taking damage while running into position.